western highlands of Guatemala are made for a camera. All a photographer needs do is click and print. But this is no ordinary photography lesson. The students are among this poor country's very poorest children. And what they're learning here, on the still shores of Lake Atitlan, is nothing less than how to change their world.
It's not just about teaching kids photography, you're using photography as a tool. And what you're actually doing is opening a door, letting them see that there are other opportunities, and that if they can dream it, they can do it.
Do they believe it?
Yeah, I think they do, finally.
Nancy McGurr was one of Reuters' top war photographers who came to Guatemala from El Salvador 14 years ago, sickened by what she'd seen there.
When I originally decided to stop Reuters, it was Election Day 1989, where two of the fellows that I'd actually had trained as photographers were shot by the army. So I decided to move to Guatemala and take a look at things that didn't have to do with war.
Her students today are still beginners. But because of Nancy, they will be educated, learn a skill, and get a chance to travel and show their work internationally. Astonishing when you consider what they've come from and what they've had to confront to get here. It all started at Guatemala's main rubbish dump, a place of almost lyrical ugliness, a dusty, toxic hell. Each day, thousands scavenge for plastic, scrap metal, and food. When Nancy McGurr first came to the dump on assignment, hundreds of children lived here too. One of them was Evelyn Mancia, then 10 years old.
Tenía que básicamente como trabajar, alimentando a los cerdos, buscando cosas. A veces comíamos en el basurero las cosas comida que traían los camiones de restaurantes. Jugábamos ahí, encontrábamos nuestras muñecas y cosas en el basurero.
Evelyn is now 21 and still lives by the dump, where her father, mother, and grandparents all worked before her. Her uncle still does, driving a bulldozer. But Evelyn is now studying at university. She works as a teacher and a cadet photographer. She is rewriting her family's history.
No, yo creo que ya no, conmigo se rompió porque yo, por lo menos en mi familia, hago todo lo posible por colaborar, ayudar a mi mamá, y no me gustaría que mis hermanos tuvieran que trabajar en el basurero.
¿Sería posible que le pueda tomar una foto?
Y hasta el momento pues no han tenido la necesidad, porque nosotros hemos luchado pues para evitar eso, pero no creo que siga la cadena.
Is it the camera that changed your life? Or you think you would have left the dump anyway?
Entonces cambió drásticamente mi vida y mi dirección. O sea, me enfocó hacia donde yo quería ir y es como un gran giro a mi vida.
This was Nancy's very first group of students, the class of 91, aged from 5 to 12. She called her group out of the dump and taught them to use simple cameras. Why? Because she could. And as it turned out, they could too. With clear young eyes, the children of the dump filmed it all.
I think visually, they didn't have any television, so they saw things in their own way. And the other thing was that when they were young, especially when they were young, they didn't do any self-censoring. They took pictures of everything. They took pictures of their aunt sniffing glue. They took pictures of the things that their father had thrown around when he was drunk. And I thought, wow, what's going on? But I think a lot of it was that these kids had never owned a camera. They'd never owned anything where they could properly express their own interests and what they wanted to do.
But the photographs were not all grim. They showed joy and laughter and the universal dance that is child's play. This picture of an imprisoned princess was shot by 5-year-old Marta, Nancy McGurr's first and youngest student. This is Marta today, a poised 18-year-old who hasn't just exhibited abroad, she's been there.
El primer país en donde viajé fue a Holanda y de Holanda fuimos a Londres. Después fui por segunda vez a Holanda y el año pasado que fue el último viaje que fue a San Francisco para enseñar las fotos que he tomado.
It's fun traveling with them because they were always ready to go. They reminded me of kids that would work for a circus or something. They were like packed, ready to go for the next day. What are we going to do? Cameras on, out the door, you know? And I remember them asking, like, Maritza, well, what did she like about London? And she said, well, she liked that building. It was called Big Mac.
Over the years, Nancy's group has grown, literally, out of the dump into a sunny house in Guatemala City. Photo Kids is the name now. The older, trained photographers stick around to help with the young ones. Each child is also sent to school on a full scholarship. But for the kids, it's the camera itself which is the prize. Their first fabulous possession.
Sí, eso. Más para acá. Y entonces habrá apaches ahí.
Samuel Perez started with Photo Kids 2 years ago. Already he is dead keen to become a photographer.
Mi cámara me gusta porque es automática y la puedo llevar a cualquier lado y no se dan cuenta. No, hay personas que no saben, piensan que es una Biblia.
Is it the most precious thing you have?
Sí.
Samuel lives with his father in one of the most dangerous districts of this unsafe city. His mother has left home. His older brothers are in rival gangs.
Buenas tardes, su abuela. ¿Será que se deja tomar una foto para llevarla al proyecto?
Samuel likes portraits. His favourite face is his grandmother's.
There's a lot of pressure on the moms to take them out of school. If you've got a boy that's 15 and not working, and you've got 5 other kids in the family, there's no role model, so nobody really knows what education can do for somebody. They're just taking it all on faith, and lots of times they'll, the pressure, they'll pull them out.
Other mothers do have faith and see very clearly what Nancy is offering beyond the photography lessons. Like Evelyn's mother, Melly.
La verdad es que pensé que ahí sí que señor Nancy fue como un ángel para nosotros, porque ella no vino a pedir nada a cambio, solo vino a ayudarnos.
Do you sometimes at night think, why us? Why our family?
Sí, bueno, hemos sido escogidos, ¿verdad? Y los que desean tener esa bendición, pues no es posible. Y gracias a Dios, pues Dios mandó a alguien que nos escogiera directamente a nosotros, ¿verdad?
Congratulations on your daughter.
Muchas gracias. Le agradezco mucho y a ustedes también el apoyo que nos dan moralmente, ¿verdad? Yo les agradezco demasiado y gracias a eso nuestros hijos están saliendo adelante.
There was always a lot of trouble in Santiago, Atitlan. Their priest was murdered, and the military opened fire on them and killed 13 children and kids.
During her Reuters years, when civil war raged in Guatemala, Nancy McGurr covered a terrible massacre of civilians by the military. The victims are buried here at this small memorial park.
Santiago Atitlan. And this was the first, and it was the only time during the war that a whole town actually protested and were able to get the army. Yeah.
So when Nancy chose to extend her project to the countryside, this is where she chose. Santiago de Atitlan, by the shores of the lake. For all its beauty, desperately poor. A project funded by donation and photo sales, which started with 3 cameras in a rubbish dump, now has 6 separate homes, including one in Honduras. Does it seem astonishing to you?
Yeah, it seems astonishing. Yeah, it's astonishing. We've got over 150 kids now. Yeah, I don't even really want to think about it.
This is the 6th and latest class of photo kids, 8 of them, each proudly carrying their own camera. They live in and around this small village, a couple of hours' drive from the capital. Their teacher, a young woman who knows exactly what this chance means. Evelyn.
Desde hace varios años tenía yo un sueño bien grande que era de alguna manera pagar a la sociedad o los niños, recompensar lo que yo había podido tener cuando yo era joven, cuando lo necesité. Se me dio la oportunidad de hacerlo a través de los mismos niños, ¿verdad? Enseñarles lo poco que yo he aprendido durante todos estos años y lo que voy aprendiendo. Entonces pensé que la mejor manera era enfocarme en los niños porque son los que más necesitan y los que menos a veces tienen ese apoyo.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Quiero ser doctora.
And Marvin, what do you want to be? Do you want to take photos when you get older?
Me gusta tomar fotos. Me ayuda a crecer. Cuando sea grande quiero ser bombero.
Nancy McGurr planned to spend 6 months teaching, then get back to her own high-flying career. That was 12 years ago. She hasn't taken a lot of photographs since then, but she has touched a lot of lives.
The classic Western professional question, what's in it for you?
I think what's in it for me is actually seeing them grow and blossom, because not many teachers have a chance to do that. And seeing kids that were shy, really sort of taking their life in their hands and moving forward with it. And seeing them succeed, you know, seeing Evelyn struggle, and everybody watching Evelyn studying and going to the university, and then suddenly thinking, hey, you know, if Evelyn can do it, I could probably do it too. You know, I'm really happy for these guys, and they've been a part of my life now for 12 years, so you want the best for them. So that's what keeps me going.